I'm Carson.
I'm Jordan.
And today we're going to be talking about the weirdest movie I've ever seen, Swiss Army Man.
So, Swiss Army Man follows Paul Dano, who is, at the beginning of this, he's trapped on an island by himself. I guess he was shipwrecked. And then he finds a dead body. It's Daniel Radcliffe. This is a very, very original and interesting movie. And I loved just about every second of it.
I did too. I really did. It was... the whole time I pretty much had a smile on my face, which made me very happy.
So I've got a couple good things to talk about this film. I want to give all the praise in the world to Paul Dano in this movie.
You know what though? But before we go any further, I just want to say I am so happy to see him in a role that isn't what he normally is.
Screaming, crying.
Yeah, screaming and crying.
In a very high-pitched tone.
Yeah.
He's a great actor, but he does the same thing over and over.
He's very much typecast.
Yeah, but in this, he has a presence. He has to carry the movie. He has to. If he doesn't, the movie completely falls. It will not work. And he does it fine, I think.
I was so surprised between the interactions and chemistry between Dano and Radcliffe.
Yeah.
Very natural, it felt. Especially with Radcliffe's performance, which was fantastic.
And very, very impressive in terms of how much it could have been limiting.
Sure.
I'm sure it was limiting.
I'm sure it was, but I think a lot of emotion surprisingly comes through without...
a deadpan voice.
Yeah, it's very
no
interesting.
inflection at all, but you get it. You understand. While the movie is not for everyone...
Definitely not.
Absolutely not for everyone. Be very careful with who you recommend this to or visit the movie theater to see this with... Because this is not a lot of people are going to.
You just need to
this.
be prepared. Like, it's hard to boil it down into a sentence. So just kind of say it's weird. It's really weird.
It's very
be open-minded.
Weird. It's wholly original though. This is something that I am going to give massive praise to this film because I work in video and stuff. I've been doing short films for years now. And you do a lot of creative work, too. The fact that a movie like this got made...
See, the thing that it impresses me is that someone had this idea and then had enough drive to
make it?
Push it into theaters.
Yeah.
Because we saw it in a main chain theater.
This is at a Cinemark we saw this.
It sounds like something that a child would come up with. And is like, a guy finds a dead guy and he is a superhero and a multi-tool. Like, that is the most insane idea.
It's super, super strange. And the fact that a budget went toward this, and we got actors who are known in this, and the fact that we watched a movie tonight that was this weird and this original, and above all, this good, see this movie in theaters.
Yeah, please support it.
Please. Don't go see Independence Day. We saw it. We didn't review it on purpose.
Yeah.
The movie's a piece of shit.
It was bad.
Don't see Tarzan, which I hear bad things about. You can watch Dory if you want, but see this, please.
Yeah, so just support movies that, push the box office limit.
Support movies that are different.
Sure.
Support movies that are original and they're not a schlockfest and they're not Independence Day where they don't give a shit and they know they're going to grab your money because they have a fucking name that you know. See this movie. Please. There are scenes in this movie that have a massive amount of whimsy to them and a massive amount of free-spiritedness.
Sure.
It feels like an indie film, and while a lot of people can they can make fun of a movie for that, here, I think it's charming.
Yeah, I don't think it feels too heavily like, oh my god, what an artsy movie that, seems like just like it's trying to push the artsy limit on purpose, and that gets annoying really quickly with some indie movies.
Right.
And I don't know, this movie also managed to make me laugh at fart jokes for a consistent probably 10 minutes, and then again at the end of the movie.
Yeah, they're very well timed.
Very well timed.
Very well timed. And the volume on some of them was just like... I felt like I was 5 years old.
It was great,
laughing at a fart, but it's funny.
When it works, it works.
It tells a very interesting story my big negative here. Mm-hmm. I got to sit on this. I may need to read into it. I'm not sure what the movie is about.
Yeah. That is a good point.
And that sounds like a huge deal. And it sounds like something that would really take down the score of a movie. Mm-hmm. But I get remnants of it. I understand little tiny bits, but I don't understand the full arc. If we're going on basic entertainment value alone, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
I didn't check my watch. I wasn't bored. I didn't, it just went by. But I'm not sure what the movie is trying to say.
I think
at all.
Well, I think it had a couple great messages. It wasn't a centralized message of the story, but things like what we find weird as a society, is interesting, and like why we don't just let loose, and why we have so many rules and things like that. Daniel Radcliffe has a great line in the movie where he says, "It sounds like in the real world you can't do anything fun at all," and that's an interesting, because it plays off this movie and its concept. A lot of these movies, very boring, very formulaic, and then you go into this movie and it just tries all these new things.
And you have to suspend your disbelief.
And it could be a little more like,
grounded,
retrospective. As far as like
how it
telling its story, but more about the film industry, and that's possible because this movie is so absurd. You know what I mean? And not only a story about society, but about film in general, which I think would make it really interesting. But this movie definitely warrants maybe a second watching to just kind of comb through it.
I would absolutely agree with that. Because this is, it's got to say something. You can tell it's trying to, it's got a reason to exist. But I didn't grasp that the first time around, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'd say it's a good thing.
Sure.
Because I would absolutely watch this a second time.
Well, see, it's compelling in a way that The Lobster isn't, where it's making you ask questions, but you aren't rolling your eyes because you have
to. It's so heavy-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we get it. Here, I didn't get it.
Right.
But I know it's trying to say something, which gives you a reason to watch it again.
But you're still curious about it.
Which I would do.
Right.
Yeah. So it has the entertainment value, and it has, an interesting story behind it that warrants that second viewing. And not a lot of movies can say that anymore. So big points there, even though it's kind of a negative. So speaking on our scale here, 8.5. For me?
Yeah, that's probably exactly where I would put it. Yeah. I wouldn't give it a 9 just because there are some things like the story thing that just is kind of weird that first viewing. Who knows? It might go up my second viewing.
I'm sure it will for me too. If I catch something again, if I'm like, oh, something's clicking with me, I get it, It would absolutely go up. Right now I'm sitting at 8.5, which is a great score anyway.
You had mentioned, what did you say it had currently? Where
it's not doing too well on like Rotten Tomatoes. Percentages don't matter on that website, which a lot of people think it does. Read the aggregate score. I think it's sitting around like 65%.
See, and I think that's a shame because I'd love to know where other critics are docking this movie. Because I haven't read any reviews for this. So it'd be interesting to see where people are seeing the problems in this movie, because I was wholly entertained and it was completely original, and I wasn't bored, and this is something I was so glad I spent my money on and I would gladly see again.
Yeah.
And I cannot say that for probably 50% of the movies that I've seen this year.
Absolutely. 8.5 for me.
8.5 for me.
You. So aggregate score 8.5. It's really good. Please see this movie while you can, because I guarantee if it's around you, it will not be for long.
Yeah.
We've got to free up space for Secret Life of Pets and a bunch of other bullshit that's not going to be great. See this movie, please. All right, so that wraps up another review for us. Please see Swiss Army Man. It's great. If you like this, you know what to do. This is a YouTube channel. We don't need to say it in every video. You know what to do. Let us know if you like it. Is that all from me? That's all from me.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.